Welcome back to another great episode of the Let Eat podcast. I'm your host, Will, with my lovely co-host who is dressed as the two-time, the best of the world, Dr.Disrespect. We're doing a segment on our hot takes because, we do have something that's really hot right now in the news, and that is we've had some controversy in the gaming world, okay? We all know that the trans stuff is a very hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about it. You see what's been happening with Bud Light, Target, Starbucks now. Yingling's getting in the mix now. It's a whole thing, right? Well, there's always been one subsect that's always been kind of neutral, kind of its own little world, and that's the video game world. Well, now that's kind of creeped in now, kind of like how it did with sports. You know what I mean? Sports was always like that safe haven. Like if you wanted a distraction, you could always go watch sports, whatever that could be. You didn't have to worry about it. That was your escape. And then you've seen over the years how, look where we're at with sports.
The virtue signal knows no bounds.
Right. So now, then it was video games, and that's kind of not the main reason, but I think personally a big reason of why it kind of became big is because that was left alone. It was just strictly gaming, personalities, whatever.
It was all make-believe in there, and
right.
You could just get lost for hours and have fun, unplug while plugging in, basically, and not think about the world and stresses of everyday life.
Right.
Until you start raging like I do.
Yeah.
It's because I got no audio!
Exactly. So a popular streamer by the name of Nickmercs, he tweeted a comment that last weekend they had a riot, or not a really riot, I guess protest, or was it a riot?
It wasn't a riot. Now what ended up happening was a school board meeting outside of a school in Glendale, California.
Yes.
And
it was between parents and
Armenian parents
teachers.
Specifically too. It was that community coming out basically to say that they don't want teachers to talk about this with our kids right now. They're too young to be even learning about sex, let alone all this other spectrum.
Right.
What also was interesting too, in an interview with one of the people that were out there, one of the parents that was out there, she was like, because people would say, oh, well, stop hate. That's what the LGBT activists were chanting. And she's like, look, we're not hating. We're just saying we would like to talk to our kids about things like that when we feel like they're ready. If you don't take that away from us as parents, yes, they're going to come in contact with things in the world that, are different. And they may have questions about that, but it's that, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but that relationship sort of thing to a parent, I'm sure, is very sacred to them, specifically about their own child.
And we're not talking about teenagers. We're talking about kids, less under 10.
Right. This woman also said that the rainbow flag has been on display at that school for a few years now. There was no outrage about uproar and protests about that. There's also a trans teacher that's at that school teaching there for a few years as well. They didn't go nuts over that. What they're going nuts over, it ended up going nuts, but they were there to speak out against was the teachers basically taking that and saying, this is the ideology that we're going to put on these young kids, and then it turned out somehow into an all-out brawl between the activists and the protesters.
Right. So, all that's going on, and Nickmercs, again, he's a big time streamer, video game streamer.
He's one of us.
Right, he's one of us. He just recently became a father. I think he's got a 2-month-old or 8-month-old around there. Yeah, very young. And all he tweeted was, they should just leave kids alone. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Word for word was they should leave little children alone.
That's it.
That's the real issue.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, because I saw that tweet that was put out, and it shows the brawl, and that's all he commented. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe that was like it was a context thing, just because the original tweet and its caption was like about how sad this whole situation is. This is where we're at now. And, we just wanted to, about love and peace and all that stuff. And people were trying to tie that into him almost attacking whoever was tweeting, which wasn't the case. Because he came out against, after things that happened against him, and he stood by what he said.
Right.
Didn't take it back. Good on you, Nick, because what you were basically saying was just leave kids out of it.
Which we all can agree on. And not even with the trans stuff, because let's just say this. I mean, let's look on the other side. Wouldn't these liberals or fucking crazy Democrats be pissed off if teachers were going around teaching them, conservative ways or...
Oh, they did not want creationism in public schools, but then again, you have private Christian and Catholic schools and Jewish day schools that teach
exactly,
that. You have that option.
But whatever, either, whether it's Trump stuff or whatever the other side is so mad about, what if they were preaching that? They would be just as mad. Right. So, again, it's a double standard, but we should leave kids alone. With anything. With anything. It's a generic statement. Like, whatever problems we have as a country, give the kids a chance to decide or develop which side or where they want to go, right? So that's all he tweeted, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, just a quick little recap. They, him and another streamer, Timthetatman, they have a couple of operator bundles in the game, which... for people who always played games, love games, that's a big achievement.
And I don't get why the two-time doesn't have one.
Exactly.
Activision.
That's a shame. Fortnite had one, but then they fucking pulled it. But, whatever. Anyway, so they instantly removed Nickmercs, and I believe it was on a Sunday. I think it happened on a Sunday. They instantly removed it, and then they tweeted Activision as a whole. They're like, "Oh, we stand by the community," and okay.
Right. They pulled it first and didn't issue a statement.
Right.
The statement came out
right.
a little while afterwards.
Right.
Same day, but
right.
a couple of hours.
So then you see streamers like Dr.Disrespect, who has been blowing up. This guy right here saying that he's going to uninstall the game and demanded, listen, unless if you apologize or reinstate the skin, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Then
we're going to have to uninstall.
Another Dr. Lupo, same thing. Cloaksy, just a couple others. There has been a lot of people, streamers, that have not been playing the game.
And the other streamer that also had his own operator bundle, Mr. Timthetatman,
yes.
At first, weak response.
Yes.
Weak response because he was just like everybody else that is so afraid of a backlash that's going to hit them financially that they'll go with whatever anybody says, no matter what they believe in. Now, you stated that on our Woody Harrelson monologue, where it's like, if you stick with your beliefs and your values, you'll make it through, kind of thing. So after that, he got some heat from the COD community,
right,
and the gaming community, and then went ahead and said, everybody, if you have my bundle, go ahead and uninstall it. When he put that out, then Activision pulled his.
No. He sent the tweet out saying that,
it doesn't seem fair that I have one.
Right. And he asked Activision to pull his bundle.
Okay.
To remove his operator skin, because it's not fair that he has one and Nickmercs didn't. And he said he supports his friend. So So, and they did it. No hesitation. They fucking did it. Like, okay. So you would think, okay, what's the big deal, right? Well,
that's a lot of work to get to that level.
Here's the thing. Why is Activision as a company getting in, like, they're sticking their nose in something that is a very delicate situation. You've seen what just happened with Bud Light and Target, right? You've seen what happened to these companies. And already the gaming community doesn't like you already because of what the content you're putting out as a game, right? And
this is easily the most trash COD ever.
Right.
So, I mean,
right. So
you can uninstall it, you won't be missing a thing.
So on top, so then on top of that, we got to get political, and then all of a sudden now you're this big LGBTQ activist. You're having floats in the California parade, and it's
Lockheed Martin has a
and it's like, are you really supportive of it? Because
no, there's money to be made here.
Exactly, and that's just,
so this is what I'm.
Hold on, but this is what I'm getting at, though. they're all fraudulent.
Right.
Like, they're just trying to do a quick cash grab.
Fake as fuck.
Because here's the thing. For instance, like if Bud Light and Target, if they truly felt that they believed in that, right? They would stand by their ground and continue on. But you saw how quickly they backpedaled, right?
Starbucks, halfway through the month.
Right.
Done.
Yeah. Target.
They're after the money. They don't care about you.
Instantly, when people started bitching, they go, okay, well, Target, we'll just move in the back. Or you saw Bud Light, okay, all right, we're done with the Dylan Mulvaney. We're going to American flags all day. It's like, really? So, what are you doing? The interesting thing, though, with Activision, though, is for now, they're kind of sticking to their guns. Now, because they haven't reinstated anybody.
Nope.
And they are getting reamed a new ass on Twitter, but they are deleting all those tweets, though.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
they're deleting all of them, but they are getting blown up. And a lot of people are supporting, as they should, because, listen, I don't really care what the fuck the scenario or situation is. Leave kids alone. That's a pretty generic thing. Just leave the kids alone with anything, whether guns, politics, whatever. Like just
vulgarity.
let them be kids.
You don't have Andrew Dice Clay as the guest speaker for the middle school, cafeteria time. Like,
right.
It's
We're
just
not bringing
happening.
in Riley Reid to help motivate 6-year-olds to be independent women.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, let's
Not yet.
Well, not yet,
Right.
but let's just keep it separate, right?
Something about that protest, too, that I wanted to bring up, the LGBTQ activists that were at that protest. Did a little digging to find out that some of them were from out of state, don't have children that attend that school in Glendale, California, or don't even have kids. Case in point, one of the members, Eric James Boyd, who got arrested at the brawl, has a prior arrest related to felony child sex crimes and assault with a deadly weapon. The charge of the felony child sex crimes is related to sexual contact with a child below 14.
I'm telling you.
You gotta why some, we get it, it's not the whole crowd, but those people are in there in the crowd kind of thing,
Right.
because kids are involved.
Yeah.
And so for Nickmercs to make that statement and just say, just leave kids alone, which look, you can be scared of the woke mob all you want, but I would say that like 97, 98% of us all agree with that statement.
It's
just
common sense. It's common sense. Here's another thing, though, is Nickmercs and Timthetatman and Dr.Disrespect, because of this issue, they've all gained popularity.
Of course.
All of them.
And
They're gaining more supports, more subscribers, more views, everything. Because again, it's just doing what's right, and that's a generic thing. This isn't like a hate on the trans or the gay flag. Like it's none of that. It's
Nickmercs' response
it's just leave kids
video
alone.
was perfect.
That's
He even
it.
said he's like, it's not about hate. It's
Right.
not about being against gay people. It's not about any of that stuff. And if you think it is, then you're wrong.
Right. And I'm glad to see other big time streamers, because let's be honest though, even though this is like we said, the worst Call of Duty game that they've made, it's still the most viewed. It's still the most popular. That's where a lot of these streamers make their income on, is that game. Well, a lot of them are sticking together and playing other games.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, when I see other streamers still playing Call of Duty, I'm kind of looking at them, sideways, like, again.
Maybe they do like the game. I mean, that's kind of difficult, but I've talked about it in the past. Speaking of streamers, we had Bella Bliss on as a guest on the show. I had mentioned talking about that boycott seems to be the only thing that kind of gets anything done. Right. You hit someone in their which is kind of like the idea of canceling, hit someone in their wallet kind of stuff. So if you see this huge abandoning ship, that's a successful boycott, because people were mad at Chick-fil-A initially when the owners and the family were like, we think marriage is between a man and a woman.
Right.
That's all they said. That's their belief. I don't agree with it, but that's their belief, and people lost their fucking minds. But nothing ever happened to Chick-fil-A.
Right.
They're doing just fine. You know why? Because the product that they put out is good.
Right.
If the product you put out is good, regardless of what kind of controversies surrounding it, you're going to be fine.
Right.
Looking at you, Activision, Call of Duty.
What? I really wish.
Your product sucks.
I really
Now we're all openly admitting it. I've been saying it for years.
No, you have. I mean, and I've been saying it too.
Yeah, you have.
But here's the thing. That's why we stopped streaming it, because we were just not having fun.
Sucks.
Just not having fun
Bad
with
game.
it. And it's like I'm not gonna put out shitty content, or at least try not to. I mean, you guys might find it still shitty, but I'm gonna at least try not to. Like,
hey, that's your opinion.
I'm at least,
you're entitled to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna at least try to have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I really wish businesses could just stay the fuck out, just not get involved, and just focus on whatever fucking their shit is.
Yeah.
Just focus on that, right? Focus on what you're a gaming company. Focus on that, okay? Because it's not like your products are so good that you have so much time on your hands that you're like, all right, we're gonna start getting involved in this stuff. No. And what are you really? You say you back the LGBT community. What have you really done, Activision? What?
The only thing that I've
what
seen
have you
them do
done?
was when we first got the game, when it first came out.
So you have rainbow titles and
the
emblems.
calling card, that was all they had.
Do we have any
That's all they did.
gay or trans operator bundles? No. Do
No.
you? Are we?
Maybe that's what they're making.
Are you donating a bunch of money to these communities? What are you doing? Because I don't see you really doing anything. As a matter of fact, Activision, here's the hypocrisy on that. They've had a big lawsuit about sexually harassing and abusing women in their company.
And Twitch wanted to come at me.
Just saying. So,
I just
we want to look away because it's the past. It was years ago. Not really. It wasn't that long ago. But let me ask you this. I mean, where do you see? Do you see Activision picking back? Do you see them just moving forward with? Because they seem, to me, what I've seen, they're just keep going with what they're doing.
As quickly as the canceling and pulling of the bundles happened, and as quick of a response that came from not only the two-time, but from Nickmercs and Timthetatman and countless others, and we're still waiting to hear any kind of news, whether they're going to adjust this, make it right, anything. We still haven't heard it. I doubt they will.
And here's the thing. You have a couple games coming out. X Defiant, which is supposed to be a competitor against Call of Duty. That's coming out at the end of June. People have been going to Battlefield. Fortnite is still... People start playing that. There's games coming out this year that could challenge Call of Duty.
Maybe that's when they backpedal.
Again, you just seen what happened with bigger companies than you. At what world did you think that this was going to be cool? No issue. I mean, you were getting killed. Now, their stocks right now are down, but it's not crazy. They weren't, their stocks aren't down like Bud Light were or anything like that, but...
But that Bud Light is kind of the odd man out, because kids aren't buying Bud Light.
Right.
Yeah. Me. I'm living the high life.
Right.
That's me. That's been me for years. But the demographic of that product is heterosexual men, predominantly.
I mean,
put them on the seltzer.
I'm over this shit. And again, this is why people are pushing back and fighting back and getting tired of this, because it's not that anyone's got a problem with if you're gay, if you're trans or whatever, but when you're constantly every fucking thing, you're pushing it's always, nonstop, you're getting people to resent you.
And there is a video, you can look it up. This happened in Dallas not that long ago, and it was kind of like an expo, a convention, almost like it looked like a Comic-Con. But it's, all the trans people, the BDSM, puppy pride, all of that was there, with parents walking their kids through this stuff. There were even little buttons that they were putting on the children that said top with a eggplant emoji, one that said bottom with an eggplant emoji that was squirting, one that said thought, and they pinned on a little girl. And if that's not sexual, I mean, I'm not quite sure.
I'm telling you.
What we're
You know what's going to be
getting at
next?
here.
You know what's going to be next after this fucking trans shit's done? Next is going to be pedophiles. We're going to start with that.
Oh, that's already starting to happen. Minor attracted person.
Yeah.
They're trying to just go ahead and wash that shit over with a term.
This is a joke.
It's like white nationalists.
This is a joke. And listen.
It's a gentrified term.
All I'm going to say is this: Activision, you have your own fucking problems. You can't even treat women right, let alone.
Well, it's in their name, Activision.
Let alone
activism.
Let alone you're going to treat the LGBTQ people right. I mean, I'm just saying you don't have a good track record. You don't make good games lately, and everything's a fucking cash grab. And listen, I hope you fucking fail, and I hope that. Especially X-Defiant, I hope that when that game comes out, it does really well. I hope that you start hurting this year. I really
Maybe
do.
We'll stream it.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Even if they reinstated the bundles, I don't think I'm playing. Because honestly, you've showed your ass. You've showed your priorities wherever they are. Not that you support it, but you're like. Pretending that you're like with them, like one of them,
it's
and
the
it's
virtue signal.
No, you're not, because you haven't been for years. You haven't done shit, and all this one time you're like. And here's another aspect I want to bring out too. I think also this was an opportunity that people that are jealous wanted to reach out and try to get him canceled. I think that plays a part of it too.
Report his tweet to them.
Right, or whatever, or call somebody from Activision, email them, tweet at them, whatever the fuck. Because,
Haters
again,
that don't,
cancel culture's real. They wait and wait for you to fuck up. And that's why someone like Timthetatman, who, at first you're like, what a pussy comment, whatever, he plays dumb, but it's like, listen, if you don't have other assets or anything else growing, and you know that they're just waiting for you because people are jealous. People are jealous when you succeed in life. That's just how it is. We can, think that they're scumbags or they did it dirt. No, you're jealous. People that are poor or less fortunate are jealous of people with success, people that are doing well. And now because we are we change things up to support the, a couple people here, a couple people there. We got to accommodate for them because we can't handle any bad press or anything.
It wasn't even that bad what he said. We're pulling a bundle for what?
And again, it could have been 5 people. We don't know. But that's what I'm saying though. Don't think that didn't play a part in it too, because you've been canceled. There's been a lot of streamers, celebrities, movie stars, you name it.
Can't cancel the 2-time.
No,
you can try.
Right. So,
But I gotta say, I appreciate standing in solidarity with I should say, with our boy Nickmercs.
Listen, we support him. I haven't been playing. Fuck that. I will not.
I haven't been playing before this because it's awful.
Right, but I mean.
but that. For years, that's a lot of work. I mean, we sit down and we bullshit around, and it's only been like a little over a year, whereas this guy's been doing it every single day for years to build community, the stress, the work on top of everything else, personal relationships and real life as opposed to what you're seeing on the screen. And
yeah, and there's no guarantee when you're doing it.
Do that.
And there's no guarantee when you're doing that you're going to be successful. There's no guarantee.
And maybe with Tim, that weak initial response was because maybe he was that shocked about it, knew that this was going to hurt maybe a little bit for now, and he needed to talk to his wife about the decision he was going to have to make, talk to Whips, people part of his crew.
Right.
That, hey, this is going to happen, so... Like, we don't know how this is going to go, but you guys are involved and part of the team. Maybe that was part of it.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
For anybody that was, coming out at him about it being a weak response.
But see, it's a delicate situation because if you don't have other sources of income outside of your main, your main source, if you're not netted out or whatever, then you have to. And he hasn't been discussing about it because he's been streaming a couple. He's been just whatever, moving
He
on.
said what he said.
Right.
Stood by,
But
the
again,
response.
we
and
shouldn't even
why
be
are we
at this
even-
point
I
because
agree.
it's just leave kids alone. That's it.
He didn't
that's
even
it.
say, right. It could have been
That's
something
it.
outrageous. And to think, you make money playing video games for a living. It's the dream. You know what I mean? You finally like attained his dream. And then to be one of the first to have a personalized bundle on Call of Duty, an operator in your own image and likeness, and so quickly have that taken.
Right.
Because you care, because now you're a new father, and you care about being able to talk with your kids, and it sets a precedent that if a school board can go ahead and do whatever they want, then they're just going to go ahead and tell your kids things that you think are incorrect, things that you might want to offer a different perspective on, and not necessarily shoot down. It doesn't have to be the complete, no, this is wrong, but to have an open dialogue about something, but to not be the first to speak about issues like this as a parent, I can imagine, is almost impossible to swallow.
Right.
I could barely digest it myself as the two-time.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Listen, Nickmercs, Dr.Disrespect, everyone, we stand by you. We do. We support you. And listen, fucking stay strong. Don't give in. Don't backpedal. And listen, prepare because there's going to be some bad. Whoever, one of you, most of you, you're going to lose endorsements. Nickmercs might get kicked out of fucking FaZe Clan because, whatever. That might happen. I don't know. But just be prepared. But if you stick to your guns and just keep plugging away, you're going to be more popular and in a better position than you were before.
Yeah, they got about a 2-week memory span. They'll be on to someone else next.
Yeah, that's true. Trump did get indicted, so,
Yeah.
But we stand by you. So, fuck Call of Duty. Leave kids alone. Catch you on the next one.